take it. Got it! Busted wins!
Two legends in basketball analysis with over 70 years combined experience. This is the Bob Bryant and Jeff Goodman podcast.
NBA, some college, a little bit of everything.
Well, you're listening to the Bob Bryant, Jeff Goodman, Tanguay along for the ride pod, a member of the CLNS Media Network. Show is brought to you by Prizepicks, North America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Download today and use code CLNS to get $50 when you play 5. Prizepicks, run your game. Okay, Bob, Jeff is off today. So things have been pretty quiet on this side of the pond. Your thoughts on what's going on the other side?
Yeah, the annual EuroBasket competition has begun. It will continue until September 14. And these countries, take this very seriously. You can imagine. It's the basketball equivalent of the soccer European championships. And so, as you might suspect, given that the National Basketball Association MVP awards have been dominated lately by people who were not born in these shores. Some names you're going to recognize are going to be leading their countries. And I don't even know who will be considered to be the favorite. I mean, if this were 10 years ago, Spain, you'd say. And France is always an underachiever to me. They should be better. I don't know what their problem is. Maybe they need a real good coach. I don't know. Anyway, they're just leading some names. They're going to be in the news over there. Nikola Jokic is going to play for Serbia. Giannis may or may not play for Greece. Obviously, if he doesn't play, they might as well stay home. But he's supposed to be able to play, but it wasn't locked in. Luka Doncic definitely playing for Slovenia. Franz Wagner definitely playing for Germany. Alperen Sengun, who is going to be a terrific player, is going to play for Turkey. Here's a guy you may have heard of, some guy named Porzingis. His first name is Kristaps. He's going to be playing for Latvia. And Lauri Markkanen, one of the more underrated good players in the league, is going to play for Finland. And Denji Ajija will play for Israel. And so those are the biggest names. One more, Sari Aldara will play for Spain. But anyway, this is going to be going on. We're going to be hearing about it. I'm sure all the general managers in question are cringing, hoping that, that everybody gets through this thing without any mishaps. But so that's going to be the news over there. Now, there are two Celtics. One current Celtic, actually, is an ex-Celtic too. Yabusele will be playing for France. But Neemias Queta, who may very well be our starting center, will play for Portugal. And Luka Garza, who we just picked up, is going to be playing for Bosnia and Herzegovina. So that's the deal over there, and then it's going to be a big deal. I'll be keeping my eye, hopefully, on the competition and from afar. And so anyway, that's the deal. That's what's happening across.
Do you think that there's going to be a time when some of these big name Euro guys bail out of this? Because as we saw when the United States began playing in the Olympics, the NBA guys, it was a big deal at first, but then as they, like Giannis, if I'm Giannis, I don't play. I mean, I really don't. At this stage of his career, he needs to take care of the body. He's the only guy on the team. And I'm sure it's different from the Euro players than it was for the Americans.
Well, it's a matter of, I don't know, all individual cases of their feeling and loyalty toward, either the country or the program, the federation. That could be loving their country and not loving the federation. In his case, yeah, I mean, he's injury prone, and he knows his value to give Greece. I can't evaluate these teams right now. As I said, I'm always surprised. I don't see any famous French names here at the moment, but France to me has a pretty good level of players in America, and they should be better. Anyway, Giannis, maybe he feels if Greece could get at least on the podium, that's the big, right. make that he should play. So we'll see. But in the other cases, I know how proud Jokic is and the Serbs are of their and how once upon a time it was Croatia. Right now, Croatia's fallen off. I don't know beyond Doncic how much Slovenia has to offer. I do know that Germany is the reigning world champion, and I mentioned France is playing, whether Maurice is playing too, but Dennis Schroeder is going to play for them. By the way, I should mention that. And that, in that level, he's a star. He's just flat out star.
Is that his 20th team?
He's on the 9th team now. It's one of them twice. Look, yeah. Oh yeah. So, but Schroeder, I'm glad I go to Germany. So to me, maybe Germany's the favorite. But anyway, the loyalties, 3 stops is very loyal to Latvia. I know. Finland is not a basketball power, but I mean, marketing may feel maybe I can do something for them, And certainly Portugal has never been associated with basketball, unlike Spain. But on that part of the Iberian Peninsula, it's all about one sport only, and it's not basketball. But Queta is going to play for Portugal, so we'll see. It's all that's happening in the basketball world at the moment. So we'll just put it that way.
Well, Dawn Staley has given us something to discuss, and she said, and she's coach of not North Carolina,
South Carolina,
South Carolina, okay, and formerly was with the Celtics.
Yes,
and would have taken the Knicks job. So that certainly opens up the discussion. Now, we have seen women be assistants, and I think certainly a woman could coach an NBA team. I don't see an issue with it. What does this statement mean? What will it do for the cause?
Well, I think in her case, damn well she could. I think not everyone, but she could. But she said what she thinks she torpedoed her own interview by being too inquisitive. and one of the things that she pointed out, she said it seemed to make them go, gee, was she pointed out to them that if you hire me, be prepared for reactions down the, all along that would never be applied to a woman coach that would never be applied to a male. That's kind of obvious. And yet she seemed to think that set them nervous, made them nervous. And then she said she just in general thought she torpedoed our own interview with too many questions. And that was the big one. Whether only she knows, I don't know. But the point is that got people's attention is that she clearly wanted that job, and she wanted it. And she would have gladly taken it. She said, I'm a Philly girl, but these are the Knicks, freaking Knicks, which is, and I would have relished it. So interesting. She's 55 years old, certainly not old in that world, God knows, but she's seasoned. If there's going to be another opportunity, I don't know how this will play with the other 31 teams if somebody's looking for a coach. And there's always people looking for a coach at the end of every year. So interesting.
Well, I do think that it will open up the door because I don't think it's general knowledge that women interview for head coaching jobs in the NBA. I don't think it's out there or it's the norm. And this may open up the door now, so it will be. We think, well, Dawn Staley interviewed for the Knicks. You got these other 3 or 4 jobs opening. How come you're not having other women interview for these jobs here? So I think just by her speaking up could create more opportunities for women.
The one name you throw out that's had experience in the NBA is Becky Hammon.
Right.
And whether she'd be interested, I can't tell you who would be next up, frankly. I can't, but I can. But those 2 names, they're at the top of the list. And so anyway, it was interesting. It got a little attention, and of course,
I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, okay, so with the Knicks, she would have been great. She could have definitely. I mean, because the fact that she was aware of what was going to come media-wise, the fact that she was obviously tough enough to take the heat, deal with the scrutiny of being in the #1 market in the world, and she asked those questions, she would have been fine. She would have been great. I mean, she would have been great. I can actually see her as the coach of the Knicks.
She's a big timer. Her resume, I'm not saying it's unparalleled, but it's at the top of the list. Olympic champion, college champion, and 2-time coach of a world of NCAA women's championship. She's got the credentials. I always go back to, I'm kind of happy to say that in the 1996 Olympics, I did a column on her. And basically the column was saying, if it's not Magic Johnson, the best point guard in the world is Dawn Staley. She was a classic. She was a classic point guard. In the mold of Maurice Cheeks, who never made a mistake on offense and knew what to do on defense. And she was a consummate point guard, and she just happened to be female.
Bob, we'll get back to you in just a minute. Prizepicks is the best place to turn your sports knowledge into cash. With millions of members, Prizepicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less. on at least two players for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long with Prizepicks. How about the pennant race is heating up? So what do you think? You just pick more or less. I mean, it's real simple. Schwarber, is he going to have more or less than 3 RBIs in this game? Or Zach Wheeler, more or less than 8 strikeouts in one of his starts? So Prizepicks puts their members first. So all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. And when your picks hit, you can get your money in as quick as 15 minutes. So download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prizepicks, run your game. Okay, Bob, moving on. Explain to me what the Kobe Michael card Holy Grail. Explain that story to me.
Well, there's a card that was a mutually signed card when Kobe was a rookie, and it's got 2 sides. I saw there. It's up there. People can find it. It's online, and signed. And in that world, which I've never been a part of, I don't understand what motivates people to that extent that they get so wrapped up in it. But the collectible world, and particularly the card world, and you go back to the Hannes Wagner, the famous card, and the most famous baseball card,
right.
and all that. And I learned something here I didn't know. Of course, I always do, hopefully. And that is, this card was so coveted. They called it the Holy Grail. It went for $12.9 million.
Crazy to me.
I can't relate to this. I mean, I just can't. I like that, but there it is. But what it is it's the second most expensive purchase of this nature ever. But it's number one. It's almost twice as expensive. I didn't even know it existed. According to this story, I'm just spouting off what I've been reading, that the number one item ever was Babe Ruth's jersey when he called the shot in the 1932 World Series. If indeed you believe he actually did, the source of controversy for the last 90 years, and we could go over that someday, but $24.12 million.
Wow, that's a lot of disposable income.
Yeah, and he did something, but did he really call his shot? Because he loved to propagate the story naturally, So anyway, that's it. So yeah, Michael and Kobe, and this is from the Kobe's rookie year, 07-08, and it's called the Holy Grail, and somebody now can say, gee, it's mine.
For $13 million. Wow. So Max Strus, as we wrap it up, is out for the Cavs.
That's, people say, oh, who cares? Well, he's an important piece of their puzzle, and they're certainly, still a prime Eastern contender. It's going to be out 3 to 4 months. Max Strus quietly has taken up residence at the top of their defense of their substitution pattern. In the last 2 years for them, he's averaged 25 minutes a game, and he's averaged 10 points a game, basically 12 one year and 9.5 this year. He makes threes. He's an useful player. It's because it's not like he's irreplaceable, but it's a blow that they weren't counting on, and they're just take note of it that he's going to be. He's got a quote unquote Jones fracture, foot fracture, and the other item though, quickly on the way out, that I know her and I appreciate her. Doris Burke has gotten a public put down.
What happened with that?
Well, I don't know. First of all, there was criticism. I remember having the defender during this playoffs run on X. The people were down on her. I think she's good, but some people they won't admit it. Maybe some will, some won't. Will just never accept a woman in that role. They don't want a woman's voice. I mean, there are people that they don't want to hear a woman's voice. They want a male voice, and they cannot bring themselves to believe that a woman is qualified to do what she does. Well, she's totally qualified.
Of course she is. Well, the only thing that I can think of, because I thought she was terrific. I mean, I thought she was terrific. I wouldn't have made the move. I don't understand it. Ever since they let Van Gundy and Jackson go, or to me, they've just. I thought Doris was the best thing since then.
Thank you. I was going there.
Yeah, I think Doris was the best thing since Van Gundy and Jackson. And again, it has nothing to do with whether you're a man or a woman. It was that Van Gundy and Jackson had great chemistry. They had
Yeah,
they
they
had great
did.
chemistry. You
They
know,
did.
but then Doris came in, and I thought she was terrific. I wouldn't have made the move.
I
I
thought
thought she would have been. I wouldn't have made the move.
I thought Van Gundy in particular was outstanding, and I've gone on this. He was special because he combined the coaching knowledge and awareness of what to say and with a fan feel. And
Right.
it's not there are not many out there that all I don't care who is college pro, the analysts that think like a fan. They're too wedded and thinking of what their inner knowledge of the sport is, having played it or whatever they did. Yeah, having played it or coached it. But Van Gundy off so many times said, "Oh, I was, God, you're so right." Thinking as a fan. Anyway, now her replacement is really good in the studio.
Oh,
But
I mean, that's a very
him
good
later,
point. I'm
he's a
glad you said that.
replacement
Legler's
in
very
the
good.
studio, but I have no feel for him in the game. Yeah, we'll see. He's going to have to prove himself to me. I'm sorry.
Right. But Legler's, I enjoy his commentary. I agree. It's just the whole thing was weird. Sometimes TV executives make decisions for who knows why. I don't know.
Absolutely.
But we are Doris Burke fans, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So well said, Bob Ryan. Anything else on your mind today, sir? Oh, and just tell people where you're coming from. My hood. You're coming.
I am invading Tanguay territory, folks. I'm in the suburb, a Mexico, Maine suburb of Weld, Maine, and I am sitting here abutting a shimmering lake, and we are here camped out for a few more weeks in Weld, Maine, and so that's where I'll be coming from in the next couple of weeks.
Bob, just a stone's throw from there. I was at a family member's wedding, and the reception was one of the best I ever went to. It was on a farm, and the main course was on a spit, and it was a huge pig, and they even had a name for it, and they had raised the pig for the wedding. And I just remember eating this unbelievable pork, and people at the wedding referring to it by name.
Welcome to Maine, folks. So
Nothing like it. Okay, Bob Ryan, brought to you by our friends in the CLNS Media Network, by Prizepicks. Download the #1 daily fantasy app today. All right, Bob, we'll talk to you soon.
Powered by Gametime, the best place to get last-minute tickets to all of your favorite sporting events. And this coming Sunday, Patriots versus Raiders in Gillette Stadium. Behind us, $208 is the get-in price right now. That is the all-in price, one of the best features of the Gametime app. There are no fees included. You get your total up front with no surprises at checkout. So head over there right now, get into this Sunday's game. Take the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets with Gametime. Download the app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create that account, use code CLNS for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Gametime app today.